It's another night in the Big 12. You know, these games are so hard to win. So tonight we're really fortunate. Oklahoma State outplayed us in the first half. Mike does a great job with his team. I think it's one of the kind of the untold stories this year in college basketball about the adversity that he's had, you know, getting the job first year and then the FBI deal. He basically loses two of the all-time great Big 12 players with Evans and Forte, and he's got his team right in the middle of the fight. So I have a lot of respect for him as a coach, and so we're really pleased to win tonight against a team that we know is really good. I think you got to give our guys a lot of credit too, though. When our backs are against the wall, effort wasn't a problem tonight. We're trying really hard. I thought we started pressing a little bit. We want to win so bad for ourselves, for our fans, but I thought we made just enough plays. These guys to my left and right played like real Big 12 players tonight, protecting a home court. And I want to recognize our fans again. Like simply stated, we don't win this game if we don't have a home court advantage. So we didn't give our fans a lot to cheer for the first 20, 25 minutes of the game. But when we started playing better, they were there to really pick us up. Student attendance was big time tonight. If we can continue to get our students to come out like this and even better, then I think we're going to have a chance to do something special as we build the program. So thank you again to our season ticket holders, our students, and anybody that might have came to watch this game tonight on a single ticket. We really appreciate it. I don't think we win the game unless we have this crowd tonight. Yeah, I thought in the first half our defense was keeping us in the game. Our offense was really struggling. The main reason why is we had 11 turnovers in the first half. You know, you can't play with that. I thought in the second half we won the game with our defense equal to first half performance, played great, and then our offense finally caught up and started helping. So second half, you know, we out-rebounded them. We got to the free throw line, and we had a low turnover half. It's normally a good formula for us to play good basketball.
In terms of the 21 free throw attempts you guys had, how important was it just for them just to kind of get there, kind of maybe calm themselves down? And did you kind of see a little bit of a difference when they're not necessarily having a hand in their face or just kind of doing what they normally do?
Yeah, I think so, especially when you're trying to make a comeback. I told the guys at halftime, you know, I don't have a 12, 13-point play. If I did, I'd be, you know, doing videos and not coaching. But what I do have is an idea that we can get back in a game by playing 3- or 4-minute games. A friend of mine, Coach Donald, is somebody that we take a lot of stuff from. We have a drill we do every day in practice, which we call the Donald drill, and it's either 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. We talk about every Big 12 game as a game of segments. And so the objective coming out of halftime was to try to win the first Donald drill. And even though I don't think we got that done, we at least were playing better basketball. Then I think we won the second and third 4-minute games. That gave us a chance to make a comeback and win a home game in the Big 12.
Keenan hit a quick couple shots there, I think about 15 or 14-minute mark there in the second half, and seemed like he really just got rolling the offense with him from that point. He had 3 threes tonight. He hasn't had that in a while. What do you think it was about him and his confidence tonight that kind of led you guys to have such a big offensive second half?
It's just Keenan didn't play any different tonight than he has been. He's a great shooter. I don't use that word great a lot. I think he was a good shooter when we got here, and I think he's great now. And I'm not taking the credit for that, but I am saying that Keenan's really bought into the process of getting in the gym more than he ever has. A lot of times this happens with seniors because he's got that light. This is his last go-around. He wants to play in the postseason. He wants to make some money playing basketball one day. So he spends a lot of time in the gym. But basketball, there's a mathematical part of it. Some nights your shots go down. Some nights they don't. What I was really proud with Keenan is he's remained aggressive during this time. He's gotten in the free throw line. Tonight he had a 5-assist game. Should have probably had 7 or 8 assists. Some guys missed some easy shots. So I've never wavered with my confidence of Keenan Evans' jump shot. It's one of the best shooters I've ever coached.
Coach, the second half points in the paint were terrific for you guys. You had 18. Was that a point of emphasis that you wanted to take it to the rack at halftime?
Well, it was a point of emphasis for the whole game. Again, in the first half, we just had a hard time getting into our game plan because of too many turnovers. And I thought Oklahoma State switched up the defenses a little bit, which gave us some problems. Got to give them a lot of credit. We had some problems with their zone early. I think in the second half we settled down. We got a lot more aggressive. We penetrated the zone. We tried to attack the rim. We tried to get to the bonus earlier than the first half. So I think I give our players a lot of credit. Didn't really make a lot of adjustments in the second half, just really got back to the original game plan and executed it better.
Coach, talk to us about Brandon Francis and how he helped in the second half.
Yeah, I'm proud of Brandon. His story is still a work in progress, but I think what you got to give Brandon a lot of credit for is he's a great team player. Brandon played some great basketball tonight, but I've seen him be energetic on nights where it's not his night. So I got a lot of respect for him, how he's embracing being a team guy. He's a competitive guy, borderline fiery, and we need that with our team. This week in practice, he stirred the pot a little bit. So I like the way Brandon's competing right now. Offensively, he's an aggressive player. He's able to play some point guard minutes. We can take the ball out of Keenan's hands, which is huge. Somebody needs to teach him how to jump stop. I wasn't happy with the 2 offensive fouls tonight, but, give Brandon credit. Before I could go get a piece of him, he was getting a piece of himself. So normally when I coach guys and it works, it's where guys start having an accountability themselves and they start getting pissed off about themselves before I can even get to them. And I'm starting to feel that way about Brandon. There's 2 guys on Brandon's there's 2 guys that are on Brandon a lot. It's me and Brandon, so I like that.
Coach, I know every game is a learning experience, but do you feel like maybe you will have learned something maybe fundamental about your team based upon what happened in the second half tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. Every game in a 31-game season, there's learning opportunities. I think a lot of times, average to good people, you learn most of your lessons after losses. That's when you got everybody's focused. That's where everybody's kind of on edge. But I think elite people can learn after wins. And that's where we're trying to get our program. So it starts with those seniors. I have a lot of confidence that they'll come in tomorrow and be pleased that we win. But 12-hour rule, that's over. Let's look at what we could have done better. That's always the first step to get ready for the next opponent. And then we got to play against a great team in South Carolina, a team that was in the Final Four last year, and a team that has one of the all-time great coaches in college basketball.
We'll go to Austin now on the left. Third row.
So, Coach, in these last 5 games, you've been on the bad end of a 10-point deficit at some point every single one of these games. And, in those last 5 games, you haven't had Zach Smith. Are those 2 related, and what's been the issue there?
It's a good question. Hey, we miss Zach. It's not an excuse. It's not something that we want to talk about. Some coaches like next man up, but I'm a human being up here. I wish we had Zach. It kills me that we don't have him. But I thought tonight our guys showed a lot of grit. Down 10 in the second half, chance to come back, and Zach continues to help us in other roles. So, I'd say anything that's going on with our team in the last 5 to 6 games, not having Zach's obviously a part of it. But we got to figure it out, and we will. We will as a staff. We will as a team, and Zach will help us as well. With the deficits in these games, I think if you look back at most Big 12 games, you can find those type of stats. Like, this league is brutal. There's no bottom half. Everybody's a really good coach. I hope people feel that way about us, but I know the other 9 guys in this league can really coach. And so you're going to have to overcome adversity. It's not a matter of, is there going to be some adversity tonight? It's a matter of when. In every game, you're going to get punched. The other team's going to go on runs, and you got to respond. And so I think tonight, above all, what I'm most proud of is just the grit, the composure. I didn't think there was much panic out there, even when we were trying so hard to play well, and we just weren't. And again, I want to give our crowd a lot of credit. We weren't giving anybody a lot to cheer for, but even when we would cut the lead from 10 to 8, our fans are getting up trying to help us. So great basketball crowd tonight. Starts with our students. Just really appreciative of them coming out and helping us tonight.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Phil here in the middle back.
Coach, and you probably have already answered it, but they just can't show up at home court and think they're going to win just because they're playing at home. They've got to execute. Is that pretty much the case?
Yeah, I think our guys understand that. I mean, let's be real, everybody in this room. It wasn't too long ago that we were just trying to win a Big 12 game. Now we got ourselves in the conversation of things like rankings and protecting home court. I mean, we're just the same team trying to win the next game on the schedule. And I think all that other stuff's great for college basketball, but when that game starts, there's the best team's going to win. Publicity and rankings and home court and stats and all this type of stuff, it's fun to talk about, but when that thing goes up, the better team's going to win. And I think Oklahoma State was the better team for the majority of the game tonight, but we found a way to win late in the game, and I think for that you got to give our players a lot of credit.
We'll go to Ben standing there on the left.
Coach, what not only what do you think of how Jared Culver played tonight, but how important was what he did in the first half to give you guys, something positive going into the half, and an embodiment of, an example out there on the court that other people could emulate.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you're struggling, you still got to find a way to stay in the game. And if we're down 20 at half, this doesn't happen. So even though we weren't playing great, we're just trying to keep it around 10 points, trying to give ourselves a chance at halftime. So we're all going to remember the second half plays, but there's a lot of big plays in the first half, whether it's Tommy Hamilton's three or Justin Gray's drive or Culver really helped us stay in the game in the first half. So it's a 40-minute game. Each possession has a life of itself. As fans and as coaches and players, we all kind of remember the last couple of minutes, but you tell me what's more important, the first 2 minutes of the game or the last 2 minutes. It's all equal. So in our program, we value, good basketball. It was early in the game, whether we were down or whether it was late in the game. So I would agree with you. I thought Jarrett played two good halves tonight.
We'll go to Bailey in the back to wrap it up.
I know it's never this easy, but how important is it for your team to be aggressive off the bat? It seems, though, when they start that way, the momentum swings your way a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I think we have to go back and study our 11 turnovers in the first half, but maybe some of that is being too aggressive. So, it's a fine line. It's it's like in football. You're going to establish your running game and get your playmakers the ball. You got a game plan. You just can't, throw it all out there. So same way in basketball. You try to get established early, but we want to be aggressive. So I think for us is that fine line between being aggressive but also playing low turnover basketball.